Yeah, of course, Star Station is going to be force cross positions for the purpose of this tournament. So it should be very exciting indeed to see what strategies these guys bring to the table on, again, a map that's new to the game of StarCraft 2, exclusive to Heart of the Storm. In the bottom right-hand location of Star Station, we have the Red Terran player from Korea representing Team Incredible Miracle. He is MVP. And his opponent in the top left-hand location, he's the blue Protoss player from Team Millennium, perhaps considered the underdog in this best-of-5 matchup. He is Feast. I hope people aren't counting out Feast, man, because after seeing Flash versus Bly yesterday, it's a new game. Anyone can win, right?
Yes. Yes, it definitely is. I mean, Bly showed some great low econ play there, and I think that's the secret to beating these powerhouse Korean players is that you've got to do something that they're not used to, right? You've got to do something kind of offbeat, use odd timings. Early game play is really where you can often succeed because as the game goes on, the Koreans have generally have a higher skill with controlling a lot of stuff at once, multi-base, mass macro, multitasking type play. But in the early game, when it comes down to just if they can make a single mistake, you can capitalize on it, that's where the upset chances can really occur.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see the openings of these guys, of course. You know, being cross positions on the map of Star Station, the rush distance is going to be fairly far. There's also, you know, a few choke points in between, you know, those attack paths, of course, just outside your natural expansion, and then near the watchtower, then near the middle. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see very fast expansion plays. But, you know, that being said, there are some new fancy one-base builds that Terrans have been coming up with, so it should be interesting to see, you know, whether MVP decides to go for that and how safe both of these players are going to end up being, considering this is a game one of a best-of-5. So there's a little bit of wiggle room to try to do something to throw your opponent off guard that's maybe a little bit more risky. For example, like a very fast command center, or maybe even a very fast cheesy type play. So it should be interesting to see what these guys bring to the table.
One thing I'm curious, is MVP going to go for that Reaper fairly early on? Of course, the new Reaper moves much faster and has regeneration, so it's a great scouting tool. But no, he's going straight for that reactor. So he's going to plan to expand, and behind that expansion, he'll have a ton of Marine production to back it up, making it much more safer. Although, of course, getting the gas and investing in that reactor before the command center does slow his economy down just a slightly bit more than it would if he did a more standard gasless expansion.
Yeah, there are different tiers of that expansion build. You know, some more greedy, some more safe than the other. Of course, the very first one is going to be that very fast command center after supply depot, and then of course another one is, you know, getting your barracks and then the command center. Of course, following that is going to be barracks, then Reaper, then command center. Here it's one stage further. So MVP is kind of in between playing greedy and playing safe, getting that reactor out so he has the option to get a lot of Marines out on the field and immediately throwing down that command center after that. Meanwhile, we see Feast throwing down a very early Twilight Council.
Mothership Core's on the way for Feast. Twilight Council is coming down. This could be DTs or it could be Blink Stalkers. Those are the two things that you're going to go for if you get that Twilight Council. No one really gets early charge. From MVP side, what's awesome is how fast he's gone up to factory, and the fact he's kept his command center in the main. Are we going to see some Widowmine usage, perhaps with a fast drop play?
That could definitely happen. Widowmine's a great defensive tool against an unpredictable Protoss, so we'll definitely keep an eye on that. And this is a very interesting play, guys. Beast is focusing so much on this one-base play. MVP already has that expansion on the field. That means there's a window of time here where if Beast does not do damage, MVP is going to get a tremendous lead in this game based pretty much exclusively on that economy. Beast has to get a lot of damage done with his Blink Stalker attack.
We can see the first proxy pylon is already most of the way completed. The SCV's prowling around. It's going to notice there's no expansion, and as soon as he knows that, he knows what's going on. One of the big questions here is how will Feast play out against these Widowmines? Because we saw yesterday, you know, Huck was able to dodge those attacks with Blink sometimes. MVP's anticipating maybe an Oracle harass with the Widowmine in the back defending their line, while the Marines cover in front.
MVP knows exactly what's happening here. The SCV is still in Feast's main base. This is not what Feast wanted, but Feast has to make something happen. He's adding on a robo here in the beginning. Is he wanting to mix in an Immortal here?
He just wants to get that Observer. Of course, he's realized with that Mothership Core Scout that MVP's been teching, knows that Widow Mines are a possibility. And, well, you got to have Observers if you want to kill the Widow Mines, of course, because when they are broke, they are invisible.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Of course, seeing those Widow Mines, that would be the logical next step there for Feast. Great reaction from him. Going to be focusing on that Stalker production. Of course, Blink Micro is going to be very important here. Doesn't want to lose any Stalkers at all. When you're playing against Marines, it is possible to micro in such a way to blink those weakened Stalkers back so you don't lose anything, but Feast is still going to have to do it perfectly. But great defensive posture here from MVP, not even bringing down that orbital command to the low ground, putting a bunker on the high ground, and he has those Widow Mines there as well. So we'll have to see if how Feast ends up reacting to this play from MVP.
Feast is going to be on a bit of a timer as once Siege Tanks enter the field. It's much harder to harass with the Blink Stalkers. He's already starting to pick off the Widow Mines though. The Observer's in the action using that detection ability. The Stalkers are on the high ground.
He's going for it, targeting down that bunker. It's getting repaired by those SCVs. MVP very fast in getting those SCVs out there to make sure that bunker doesn't die. That's an instrumental part of his defense. Does not want to lose that. Feast going to come over to the right-hand side of this base. Star Station, you have big bases, so MVP has to worry about a lot of real estate here. There is a Widow Mine, but Feast is going to target it down, has that vision with that Observer, and might blink into the main.
Time Warp goes down so the Marines can't charge into Stalkers while they're blinking in. Widow Mine takes out one, then retreats. Orbital Command is under fire, but he should be able to repair that. Widow Mine goes down, Siege Tank is sieging up, and the Stalkers cannot get in there to take it out, so they have to blink away.
Remember, you don't need to research Siege mode anymore in the game of Heart of the Swarm. Of course, in Wings of Liberty, it did require that Siege upgrade from the Tech Lab, but MVP getting that tank out very fast, sieging it up immediately, and again, has a great defensive stance, but Feast is slowly taking out those Widow Mines, and I don't think MVP has any left. No, he has one more left, but that tank is sieged in the back. But again, the space is so big, there's so much room that MVP has to worry about defending.
MVP's blocking Feast expansion with the SCV while he's defending Hope. One tank gets too far away. Stalkers pick it off. More Marines going down, but MVP still has that tank in the back, laying down some heavy fire on those Stalkers.
MVP losing that tank. Great spot there from Feast, blinking and sniping it away, and that's going to make this a little bit easier for himself. But MVP continuing to pump up that production. Another tank on the way. Nothing but Marines on the way there from that barracks. He's going to come to the back here and start working on these those SCVs. Meanwhile, back home, Feast looks like he wants to expand, but MVP placing an engineering bay there.
Oh, Feast, MVP running, cutting Feast off a bit. Many of these Stalkers are falling as they're trying to blink away. Feast escapes but loses a significant portion of his army. MVP pushes him off of his main base, and now his Siege Tanks have kind of established enough control that he should be safe from here on out, but Feast is expanding behind us.
Yeah, so it looks like Feast does have a backup plan, and from here, what Feast wants to do is delay this expansion from going to that natural as much as possible. MVP just sending the command center over, going to be backing it up finally. It should not die by any means. The SCVs are going to be there to repair. The Stalkers blinking back again. The tank being repositioned here from MVP, and a second tank coming out onto the field. So Feast is running out of time to get that damage done, and MVP going to come out with these Marines and try to take down some more Stalkers. I don't know how much more potential this push is going to have here from Feast.
One of the key things is if Feast can keep that Observer alive, of course, the Stalkers always have the option to blink into the main. MVP is going to look to try to take that out with a scan once he can figure out where it is, but Feast is actually not moving. He's keeping it very still. One thing is the more you move the Observer, the more likely is the Terran will notice it. But he brings in the Mothership Core to get that high ground vision. Blinks the Stalkers up, but the Blink's on cooldown. Marines decide not to pursue as the medevac is out of energy.
Yeah, and a tank, if he had another tank a little bit closer, he might be more eager to try to engage there. But, the tank is so important because it's a little bit harder for, obviously, the Stalkers to micro away from that damage. Feast is kind of gauging, all right, how far is that tank away? How much real estate do I have to work with? Just trying to keep MVP scared. That's his goal. Again, he has an expansion down behind this, pumping up the pro production. He already has the Twilight Council on the field, so he doesn't have to worry about, adding that on to proceed with upgrades. So I guess that's definitely going to be a good thing. But the Stalkers are going to be blinking to the middle line. Again, trying to get that damage done. Feast just trying to be annoying at this point.
He is. He's being very effective. Multiple squads of Stalkers picked up the second tank with only one tank left to defend. That makes it much easier to get damage done there. I love the way Feast is splitting up his units to try to find any opening to get any damage done. Of course, he still is behind as far as the economy goes in a small degree, but he's catching him quickly, and the more units he can pick off, the better chance he has as the game goes on.
MVP mixing in more Widow Mines here. Looks like he's content with a couple Siege Tanks. Marines, again, trying to shoo those Stalkers out of here, and it looks like MVP did lose a tank a little bit earlier, so back down to one tank, and he's going to be focusing pretty much exclusively on that bio, adding on 2 additional barracks at this point in time. Already has 2 barracks on the field, 1 with the reactor, 1 with a tech lab, and again, Stim is about to finish as well. So again, I think, yeah, I think it's starting to approach a pretty dangerous position here for Feast as far as possibly overcommitting these Stalkers.
It definitely is. You know, MVP's just taking out that Observer, so now there's no real option for Feast to make sure there's no Widow Mines, and they get the high ground vision. Trying to blink in there again, but Stim is almost complete, and once Stim is complete, MVP can actually run down those Stalkers and take them out. We saw that happen with Innovation versus Huck. If you overstay your welcome with the Blink Stalkers, they can be pursued by Stim units, especially once Custom Shells completes.
You know, MVP could even push across the map here. He has Stim, he has a lot of medevacs, +1 is on the way, but he has a huge army, and he realizes how much his opponent invested into those Stalkers. It's a lot of gas that you're expending onto those Blink Stalkers. Of course, the Blink upgrade as well, delaying your natural expansion. And Feast behind this, he's researching Charge. He has High Templar Archives on the way. He has 4 gates on the way as well. So he's going to be trying to get as many Charge lots as possible on the field, buying time for Storm to finish. Or he might even, you know, go emergency mode, warp in some Archons to try to face this attack. But it's going to be very difficult indeed for Feast, considering, you know, MVP's up in supply, 122 to 93.
The key thing here is Feast needs to buy as much time as possible to get a significant number of charge loss out in the field. We can see MVP right now has a supply lead by about 25, but Feast has so many warp gates, he can equalize that very quickly. He needs the active army supply in at Feast's side of the map if he can buy just another 30 seconds to a minute to get a couple waves of warp-ins.
All right, MVP, again, now he has the opposite advantage of his opponent as far as he can take advantage of this big base from his opponent. But there is the Time Warp from Feast coming forward with the Stalkers and the Sentries. A lot of Zealots here as well. They do have Charge. MVP going to be marking away from those. Again, Feast trying to buy as much time as possible. Storm is underway. He's going to be chrono boosting the heck out of that, but MVP not going to wait. He's going to continue pressing forward. But there's the Blink again, trying to target down the Medevacs. That would be a great pickoff here from Feast. Again, no Medevacs mean no energy for these Ranger Marauders, but look at all these units from MVP. He's just going to stim forward and stutter step and take down so many of these units here from Feast.
Feast's units are dropping quickly. MVPs are hurt because of lack of medevacs, but they still do full damage. Unfortunately, Feast has no Photon Overcharge using a Time Warp in the earlier battle. Stalkers are trying to micro, but MVP's army just looks too big.
MVP has way too much. Feast desperately trying to warp in more. That's not going to happen. There's the snipe on the pylon, and there is the GG from Feast.